Hello, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins and today is Watercolor Wednesday. Today we're going to be painting a bouquet of daffodils. And I'm going to use this painting on Saturday, in Paper Crafting Saturday, to make a Mother's Day card. So this is a two-part program. So let's get started. I have a piece of hot press watercolor paper here, and I'm going to be using just 3 paints today. I'm going to be using red, yellow, and blue, and I'm going to be making a kind of an impressionistic pattern. I'm not going to be doing a portrait of any one of these beautiful flowers, but I just want to capture the colors and the characteristics in a very loosely painted design that's going to coordinate with the other elements that I use in the card. So to do that, I'm just going to wet my paper. So the quickest way is to just spritz it a little bit, like so. And I'm going to make a very watery solution of pale yellow paint. I just need to clean a little spot on my palette here. There we go. Okay, and so now I'm just going to take this yellow and sort of put it in the areas of the bouquet where the center of the flowers are. And I'm going to add to that a little bit of red. And just sort of increase some of the values. And I'm also going to take a very pale violet mixture and just sort of put that in the spaces that are in between each of the blossoms, like so. Okay, so already we're getting a nice little design, and we haven't hardly begun yet. I'm going to mix a puddle of yellow and blue on my palette to make a kind of a middle green color. And I'm going to put a little bit of that here and there to indicate some of these stems, like so. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is, with the pale yellow mixture with just a little bit of red, I'm just going to begin to with the tip of my brush, sort of sketch some of the shapes of the flowers. And I'm not trying to copy anything exactly, I just sort of getting the gesture. Some of the ruffles, showing how the trumpet is kind of a cup shape. So I can get down into those shadow areas of the cup. There we go. And I'm also going to take my brush and make petal-shaped brush strokes. Now I'm not making outlines here, I'm making shapes, just to give the impression of the way the daffodil petals come away from the center of the bloom, like so. There we go. All right, so you can see that in just a couple of seconds I've already got something started, and the paper is beginning to dry a little bit, so now I'll be able to get some harder edges with my drawing. So I'm going to go back to that violet mixture, and I'm going to pay a little more attention to the negative shape around some of these petal forms. So it starts to look a little more like daffodils. There we go. And I think you'll begin to see some of these flowers start to emerge from the kind of abstraction that we started with. Now, if you'd like to learn more about watercolor painting, I'm very happy to let you know that I have a new class this month in beginning watercolor. I have a second class called Painting with Ink, and I have another class making a gift box with note cards. So if you think you'd like to learn more about those, please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you can do that at my website, and that will sign you up to my list where you will get an announcement with all the descriptions of the classes, the pricing, and how to register. So please do that. You have, I think, 3 days left. Registration closes on the 8th, so that's coming right up. So be sure to subscribe to Notes to get all the details. Okay, so while I've been talking, I've given the paper a little more of a chance to dry, and now I can start to paint on top of what I've already started here. See if we can get you zoomed in. Oh, that's better. There you go. Okay, doke. Now I'm taking a little bit of red paint and I'm mixing it with the yellow to get a nice strong orange color. And I can go right on top of what I've already painted, and since the paper is still a tiny bit damp, these strokes are going to blend in nicely with what's already there. And today in Northwest Connecticut, it's a kind of an overcast, humid day, so it's taking a little bit longer for the paper to dry than it would if you were in the desert somewhere or near the beach or someplace dry. Okay, I'm going to take some of that violet mixture and I'm going to dilute it down even more so there's hardly anything on the brush, and I'm just going to indicate some of the folds in the petals with little strokes here and there, just kind of radiating out from the center of the flowers. Okay, and then I think the next thing we need to do is to add a little bit of value. And what I mean by value is to increase the darkness. So this is what I would call an underpainting or a first wash. And now we can start to select just a couple of the areas to increase the value and put little accents here and there. So I'm going to go in here in this area. Still going around the petal shapes. And this big daffodil in the center is going to be my main focus. And I can continue to draw shapes. And so I think you begin to see the process that you build up your colors and your values slowly, and just take your picture as far as you'd like. So if you're looking for something that's looser, more impressionistic, like I'm doing here, you would stop sooner. But if you wanted to get something that had a little more detail, a little more finished, then you might continue working on it for a longer period of time. But the key here, I think the best thing is to paint from life whenever you can. You know, sometimes you have to rely upon a photographic image, but that's not going to give you the same information that a live specimen would. So if you're fortunate enough to have a garden and you can go out and collect a couple of specimens to paint, then that's ideal. Now I'm going to go back into my central flower and just work on the shape of this trumpet a little bit. So I'm getting the ruffles around the edges. These daffodils that I have come in all different colors and combinations. Some of them have wonderful fragrance. And daffodils are so easy to grow. You just plant them in the fall and forget about them, and the next spring you'll have them wherever you want. And I have them along the front of my house, along the road, and also coming up the walkway so that I can see them every time I go in or out. Okay. So that's how I would start it. I see a place here. I just want to put some of these. Oops, that's too dark. Okay, so if you get a little too dark, just take plain water. Just wipe it up, and there you go. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you'll join me in May for my online classes where I go much more into detail. I talk about all of the supplies, I show you the color mixtures, you can see my palette and my brushes and all the tools that I'm using. And I also answer your questions. So look for that at Dandelion Cottage Design, subscribe to notes, and I will send you an email with all the information. Thank you, stay in, stay well, and stay creative. I'll see you soon.